use it now, you're just gonna have it earlier on. So very nicely done. And the Spectre dying though, now is the time where LBZS needs to be careful. We can see the Spectre didn't skill up the ulti, but with like the Beastmaster or the kills.
That's what Spectre on getting used. They're trying to get the puck, but that's another snap forward. Actually, it's too much magic damage to handle. Skill A will be chased down by Topclan as well, and that is a double kill with now the Omni Flash bouncing a bit. Unfortunately, TSH should be able to scurry out the distance and get to safer territory. Actually, there's a massive chase here. Does have a Spectral Dagger to get out of the pit, and they will be able to... Oh, not completely fly to safety. Another spin comes out, and very early aggression from LBZS will be superb here, and with advantage being 3k, and yeah, the Dream Coil cross combo is always very deadly.
I'd like to make a play.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Still, that is the haunt used. The supports of Yangon are useless without their level 6s. That is the thing. Phoenix can do a bit of damage. The Winter Wyvern, when the Juggernaut is in play, he pretty much doesn't do anything just because, you know, his heal is not going to be doing a single thing, and you want to be focusing and pushing down lanes. We're seeing that the both offlaners do manage to bring down the tower, so that's going to be big in terms of invading the enemy's side of the map.
I think especially one of the other heroes that has come back a lot in this current meta is also a superb Winter Wyvern counter, but most of the time gets picked to counter out the puck, and that is the Skywrath Mage. It's a hero that Mystic Flare is your worst enemy if you are a Wyvern, because the moment you cold embrace someone, you see that flare come in and you know you killed your teammate. By accident, obviously, but definitely not a fun situation. And as you mentioned, Juggernaut kind of has the same situation where he just spins the wind and takes you down. And another snap coil coming into play. Luckily enough, did get a decent shield crash. Actually going aggressive here. Rolling Thunder in onto the Enigma. Can he get the damage to kill him off? He's just going to try and roll away before his Rolling Thunder ends and go back off onto the side of YG. But network-wise, that Spectre, it looked like he should have had a lot better of a lane, but he is currently struggling.
Yeah, definitely not looking good. That big fight in the mid lane, you know, Juggernaut comes out with 2-3 kills, and the Spectre gets nothing, and LBZS, they go for 8, you know. The thing about playing against the Beastmaster, you don't want to let him overtake that area. You want to be smoking in there, you want to be fighting with wards, because if he is there for a long time, he's getting way too much farm. And LBZS, they recognize this. This is the reason I like their draft, is because they have the Enchantress. Even if you cannot get the wards down, even if you cannot fight the Beastmaster, you can't get the smokes off, you can send the Enchantress there, and she's gonna be annoying enough so that you know what's going on, and then at least on the other sides of the map you can play more aggressive if that's the case. Obviously now they do get the kill, but you're not always gonna be able to rotate 2 cores towards the Beastmaster.
Yeah, but the big plus is that you do have the Wyvern ulti available right now, and that is a big one in team fights if you can line everything up, especially in combination. You mentioned the 2 supports. If you get a Winter's Curse off and the Phoenix X next to it, it could be absolutely disastrous for LBZS, and that's where kind of YG's lineup does reign supreme. When you get a full 5v5 engagement, you kind of do need to be the initiator, which I think is a bit of a problem for the YG lineup, because you are up against a Tiny and a Puck, and the initiation is going to definitely severely favor LBZS. Most of this game, you do have a little bit of a counter with, of course, Spectre Haunt to try and scout out the enemy and break Blink Daggers. But I think that YG are going to primarily be focused on counter initiating this game.
Right now, you are seeing that LBZS, they understand their lineup perfectly, or they understand how to play against the enemies perfectly. They're pretty much playing all three parts of the map: the top, the mid, the bottom, just running around with their heroes because they don't want a big team fight. They want pickoffs, they want skirmishes, and they want to catch their enemies off guard. Use a one-man black hole, use a one-man coil. It doesn't matter. Just get the lead up, get your Juggernaut super strong, and LBZS are probably going to be looking to fight big once they have the Aegis. For that, the mid lane tower needs to fall, and it is gonna take some time, but you can see just from their movements that they understand that they don't want to come into a big fight. As you mentioned, the egg plus the Winter's Curse can be devastating for any lineup.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
They are ready with the Tiny in the side for a possible another Dream Coil snap. They've already had, I think, 3 this game, which is remarkable considering we're only 13 minutes into the game. But the Tiny has been doing a very good job at keeping that pressure on mid and making sure that the puck is never in a very rough spot. A very big Ancient stack did get cleared in the meantime. Spectre did go for the Blade Mill build, which is obviously, very solid to kill off Ancients. There are a couple different builds on the Spectre. You did mention it. Which one will he go? You've got like the Echo Saber build. Some of them go for an Ags Rush. Some of them go BKB or Manta style rush. In this case, Blade Mill, I think it's a pretty solid choice, mainly just because his farm was so severely lacking. Bottom lane, quick catch onto the Enigma. He will burn to a crisp, and a nice kill secured. And that's the biggest team fight that they have on the LBZS side. However, towards mid, can the Spectre stay alive? Does have his prompt available. Cold Embrace, and there's the Winter Script to deny the toss back. Omni Slash. Charge forward with the spin. Can he get out? He is trying to get out. Goes back towards the egg and will get smacked by the puck. In the end, PP did have a haste rune. He'll be able to try and disengage, but there's actually going to be a stun coming through, and that's something that he didn't expect. They find themselves the kill on the Spectre, but the fight definitely favors YG.
It does. The only bad thing though for YG is that the tower has fallen. With the tower dead, the puck and the Tiny can actually go for kills easier. The top tower, you get to open up the map to farm, which, LBZS, they can take it or leave it. Obviously, it's the easiest tower to take, but once the mid lane tower is gone and you have the blink on the Tiny, that is when the hunt begins. Also, one unfortunate thing there happened to the Spectre. He got broken by the creeps. I don't know if it would have changed much, but there is a chance he survives because of the dispersion.
Yeah, the new creeps are really fun. The small camp can be devastatingly annoying for some heroes. The break, the disarm as well. When I've had multiple games where someone like a CK has almost no HP, tries to walk up to the creep and then get a big smack heal in, and then he gets disarmed and gets killed off by the small camp because he was playing with almost no HP. And that is one of the saddest situations that you can encounter ever in Dota, unfortunately. But it does bring a little bit of a threat towards those small camps. Okay, in mid, Phoenix did get Dream Coiled, but with the Cold Embrace, they'll just be able to take her dive back to safety. And that coil will be on cooldown for quite some time, which is a big plus here for YG, because yeah, you mentioned, of course, the black hole. If they get a singular kill with the black hole, that's already a plus in this game. There's very little real usage from that cooldown, from that big ult.
Oh, South, he has caught the Phoenix. That's a big one. That's a really big one. Now you can't fight anymore if you're Yangon. So, that coil cooldown that you were mentioning, it's really not going to matter that much because Yangon are not going to be able to initiate for quite some time. We can see the bottom lane only now. The Beastmaster is pushing in, and with the mid lane tower down, they go for that Roche. That is a really nice play. The question is, can Yangon get here in time? They do have the tools, they do have their spells, but I guess without the Rolling Thunder, they're probably not going to feel comfortable going there.
They have a lineup that is amazing at fighting Roche, but it's dropping a little bit too fast for their taste. And that's going to be Roshan in favor of LBZS, which is pretty big. Juggernaut staying alive for a bit longer. He's got the Maelstrom, went Yasha, and a big catch in mid will be in favor actually of YG. They're looking for more. Can they secure more? Young PH, Swashbuckle in, does have The tools necessary. Dream Coil has been thrown out. The Omni Slash bouncing all over the place. Golden Race keeping the Beastmaster alive. Nice stun coming out. They will focus down the puck as fast as they can before the Juggernaut goes into the spin, and the Juggernaut does so much damage. That shard, it is actually kind of broken with the amount of movement speed that you get. Nice Icarus dive as well. Plus the Black Dragon is still going strong. Rolling Thunder coming through. Swashbuckling gets the kill secured on the Aegis, and now they kind of need...
Tiny's back.
Yeah, Tiny comes back into play, and a nice toss up. Swashbuckle back, and Young PH disengaged. That movement speed is so freaking fast. Tries to get the Maelstrom proc. Cheeky peeky right there, but unfortunately won't be able to secure it.
Yeah, there was no Maelstrom proc there. Nice attempt though. Juggernaut deals so much damage, but Young PH still does survive. I think the biggest problem for LBZS here is I usually don't you know, label one player, but I think the puck is dropping the ball. He's getting caught way too much when the Winter's Curse is already used. So the only thing that you're kind of afraid of is the Beastmaster roar. So how the hell do you allow that to happen over and over again? Keep your tabs on the Beastmaster, be far enough away from him, and even if you make a mistake, you're still gonna have the phase shift to get yourself out. But PP over and over again seems to be getting roared, seems to be losing his mana to the Diffusal Blade, and he is he's putting his team in a bad spot because he's the one that needs to be finishing people off. Obviously, they're gonna be able to run away from the Juggernaut at some point. From a puck, well, not so much.
Yeah, no, puck is pretty annoying in that regard. And I assume Tiny, yeah, well, I assume he already has his Blink Dagger, so that is a pretty big addition on the hero. Pango does have his Basher, I think, being delivered right now. And that's kind of huge because the Basher is amazing against the Jug as well. They will have so many tools that pierce the spin, and you kind of need to hold the Jug in place. But the problem is, as you mentioned, you want to use the roar for the puck because that one's the most elusive. So a Basher added in will be able to keep Kagome from chasing down the rest of YG while he's spinning, and that spin to win play is remarkably strong considering, well, his farm is insanely high. Is going for the Lincolns here because, well, it's a perfect Lincoln / Lotus game against the Roar, against the Curse, against the Dots as well for the Phoenix later down the line, and what some other items. But a tier 2 tower trade for tier 2 tower trade is still not bad for YG. Like, they're doing a very good job, and honestly, if you extend this game, I still favor the YG draft.
Yeah, for sure. The ultra late game is gonna be going their way in multiple ways. Usually when you see big team fights, you're gonna be okay. They might not be able to get that team fight going their way, but the thing is, the vision game is there for Yangon. Sure, in the early stages of the game, the Enchantress is annoying and she gets into your face, but as the game is progressing, it's easier and easier to bring her down. And when it comes to vision, Yangon, they're gonna be able to kill the Enchantress if she's deep. They're gonna be able to give vision with the Beastmaster, and then obviously get a good team fight for themselves.
Yeah, nice catch though. Solid toss up come in with this quick spin, and that should be an easy kill. Throws out the Roar onto the Enigma. Nice Curse coming out onto the Phoenix Egg, and that's the team fight combo we were talking about. Trying to find the Omni-Slash target, does dodge the Sunbeam coming through. And now that is Kagome. He's going to try and spin a win again. Look at that movement speed he's got. He is so freaking fast. Can they chase him down? They're trying to catch up onto the Juggernaut. Would be a huge kill in the trees. It's not easy to dodge a Spectre in that situation. The Ancient Black Dragon is still not dead in the process. Enchantress Impetus arrows will be able to find the kill onto Young PH. And the only one left is the Spectre. That fight started amazingly. But because the Juggernaut got that Omni-Slash off, the fight actually did turn out to be insanely solid for LBZS as well.
Yeah, to you know, Yangon Galacticos, you could say they got the perfect team fight, but there's two things that that happened. You could even put it in one thing: the puck survived, and then he's gonna be able to finish people off. You could see the Enchantress doing damage, but the one that is finishing people off, they can't actually run away. It is the puck. So one time they catch the Beastmaster first, and the puck doesn't die. So that kind of results in a solid fight for LBZS. But still, it is a fight on their side of the map. They really aren't gonna be getting anything out of it, and the Jugger did die. So we're talking about late game potential in terms of how this game is going to be transitioning. I still think Yangon are going to be quite okay with it.
Yeah, they are extending the game significantly. It's just, you know, in that situation, if the Winter Wyvern got away just like a sliver of a second faster against that Juggernaut and would have been able to get the Phoenix Egg stun onto the Jug, that would have been, that probably would have been a complete team wipe in favor of YG. Because it started off pretty painful, and then that Beastmaster roar with the curse up on top, it was magnificently done by YG, and that's kind of what you have to deal with on the side of LBZS. Of course, one team has Black Hole, so don't stack with all 5 heroes on top of each other, but the other team has their own very niche combination that makes it very scary in the team fights. You need to have perfect coordination to not give that Wyvern a good curse target.
Overall, he should be okay here. I have to say though, LBZS, the way they're approaching fights is a little bit too commit heavy for me. They went for the Beastmaster by not tossing him back. They definitely could have done so and then bursted him down away from his teammates. But they are, after not doing so, then they're committing for him. If you're committing really hard here and you're LBZS, it's gonna be very, very dangerous. Just as super hard committal from Yangon could be dangerous if the Winter Wyvern, let's say, dies and you get too close to one hero with 3 or 4 of your heroes, a big black hole could come out. So I'm thinking LBZS, with them being the aggressors. And,
okay, BP gets roared. I guess Teeny has himself a Blink Dagger on the Beastmaster, and of course, you did mention the vision gain. He's got the shard as well, so he's got all the vision in the world. You throw out a Hawk that comes out of your blind spot onto the puck, you get the roar in. It's actually, that's also one of the small things that I kind of, that slips my mind. You don't necessarily just should be able to get the easy roar, but those Hawks are definitely going to be very annoying to deal with because they're going to be everywhere, and they also do stun you to get that easy setup for the dire side available, and the net worth is just almost dead even right now.
Yep, it's looking pretty solid for Yangon. They're starting to overtake the top part of the map, which means that the Roche, the next one, is not going to be easy for LBZS to take. Actually, it's going to be pretty hard, given that the dire side, they control the outpost. Of course, LBZS, they still have that mid lane tower access, but without the control of the high ground, they won't be able to take it. And big team fight, playing against big team fight without the Aegis is obviously going to be a problem for them.
Yeah, they definitely need that Aegis available. Juggernaut, next item is going to be the Butterfly, it seems. Not really going to stack up on HP, which I find an interesting approach. You know, Basher, the Lincoln Sphere keeps you slightly alive, but I definitely think that there's a lot of AoE damage coming into play as well on the YG side, especially from the Pangolier. That can be very nasty going forward. Puck also has the Lincolns now. But as mentioned, there are multiple ways to try and break it. Neutral items and the like can come into play, but they are going to smoke out and walk up the high ground. Can they get themselves a catch? That would be a big one. They're just going to disengage. Smoke got broken, and they know what's coming their direction. So everyone on YG should be able to TP back to safety or get out of dodge at the very least.
Yep, everyone is out. I guess you get scared there. Your smoke breaks and you're unsure what's gonna happen next. You might be under enemy vision with this huge team fight. The big Winter's Curse can kill you. So I'm liking that LBZS didn't go for that, even though we could see that it might have been a good play, you know, with not a lot of heroes around. They obviously didn't have all the info.
This is looking also scary because Spectre's going for the Scotty next. It's going to make him super tanky. The healing reduction is also amazing against the Juggernaut because, well, he's got some very nice tools to keep healing himself up with that healing ward, obviously, and the Enchantress possibly later down the line as well. So, Spectre late game is terrifying, especially if you do not have a break on your team, and I don't think anyone is going to be building a Silver Age for LBZS this game. Maybe the Juggernaut, but yeah, he's got marked up that he wants to go Scotty plus MKB, and that means that the Spectre is going to be absolutely terrifyingly strong to deal with. Possibly can still die, but you're going to need to spend a lot of resources once he's got that Scotty done.
I mean, the Jugger, when I saw him wanting to go for the butterfly, I was like, what the hell are you doing? No one, literally no one is right-clicking on the side of Yangon Galacticos. And what are you trying to do? Kill your guys faster with the Winter's Curse? So I was pretty baffled by that. But the Scotty MKB does make a bit more sense. In a sense, you want to kill people with the Cold Embrace. I guess keeping the Spectre for last is going to be the play here for LBZS.
In, Phoenix Head gets dropped with the curse on top, and that will be a pretty big Phoenix stun coming into play. Double kill secured, no Enigma for the fight. Chasing in for the Jugger, he's going to go for the Omni Slash and bounces all over the place, but they are soaking up all the damage. He is running away as fast as he can, and he'll be just fine as well. Swashbuckle dodged slightly by Salad. They're going back in onto the Pangolin, who's a little bit out of position, and somehow they stopped their chase for the kills. Juggernaut staying alive, buyback from detachment, but they survive on LBZS, and that's the entire team fight wombo combo gone. So Roche could be a possibility here once they've healed up on LBZS.
Yeah, Roche is up. This is big. 60 seconds until the Pango. He does have a buyback, obviously. At this part of the game, if I was Yangon, I'd keep my buybacks, because this is the timing where LBZS need to get Roche and start making things happen. If it doesn't happen right now, it's gonna be problematic for them in the later portions of the game. But Yangon, they didn't kill the Juggernaut, but I think they're still making a statement that the mid lane tower is gone. But still, if LBZS get the Roche here, it's not gonna be the worst thing in the world that they lost the tower right now.
This is a tough fight for YG, but they're going in to try and get that steal going. Black Hole comes out, and they do not have the Pangolier to interrupt it, and that is just huge. The curse does come out into the pit, but the Aegis has already been picked up by Kagome. They will lose the enchanters, which will be dieback, but the team fight is a massive slamming success for LBZS. Dreamcoil even catching young PH in the end, and that was just a fight that you honestly really could not take without your ultis available on the side of YG. Without the Pangolier in position, you go into the pit. Yeah, you don't get many chances for a Black Hole, but when everything is on cooldown, that is the perfect opportunity.
They even had the Winter's Curse, but they couldn't see him. He used the Black Hole there to the edge. It was a big problem for Yangon. They went into the pit. They couldn't see the healing ward. It was going on constantly. They couldn't see the Enigma, so they went in without vision. LBZS did a good job at covering the Roche pit with the sentry, so the Hawks really couldn't do much. I'm liking the play for LBZS right now. They're trying to force more mistakes right now for Yangon, because that is how you're gonna win this game. You force out mistakes from them, they use their ultis, you take down the racks, and you just force another fight. There it is.
And that's Phoenix dead. Does have the buyback available, but Spectre's coming back alive, so they have to still be a little bit careful, especially the Puck. He is prone to being caught this game, but they do have a bunch of Lincoln Spheres on the Radiant side. Finally, he gave away that shard, the actual shard that he still had on to Kagome. I don't know who actually got it for a free upgrade. But the net worth advantage is looking pretty good for LBZS, and Kagome is looking back in action on that Juggernaut, absolutely on top of the world right now. And that all comes down to the fight where they kind of were very close to killing the Juggernaut, but did not manage to finish him off. And after that, it was just easy walk into the pit for LBZS. And you mentioned it, force mistakes, make it rough for YG to come back into the game.
Yeah, this is gonna be the play now for LBZS. We're gonna be seeing them diving, jumping in. That is what you want to do if you're LBZS right now, because you want those spells forced out with minimal casualties. To do that, you need to be the ones initiating. You need to be the ones playing. So I think that is the reason they just don't walk up the high ground, because they understand the possibilities of a big team fight for Yangon if Yangon has all the info. That's why LBZS, even if you're pushing the bottom lane, you need to be surrounded by sentries. One Hawk can completely foil your plans.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Spectre does have that Scotty done though. He's going for the Basher next. Every tool possible. This Enigma did go for the Aether Lens, that's why he could get that very lengthy range Black Hole into the Roche pit off, which was fairly nice. to be able to use. Detachment's gonna place a high ground ward, or they're just gonna, okay, they're not, which
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
will at least not spot out the Wyvern. He is actually pretty deep at the moment. He's just gonna TP back to base, but a 9k net with lead is not too
Dire's
shabby
bottom tower is under
for
attack.
the Radiant side here. It's not too
Radiant's
massive
top
that they
tower is
can't
under
overcome it with their insane team fight, but
Dire's
that
middle
Aegis
tower
is
is
definitely
under
the biggest problem here. You kind of need to blow everything to kill off the Juggernaut once, but after your cooldowns are, well, on cooldown, the team does have a
Dire's
severe
middle
lack
tower
team fight.
has fallen.
Yeah, they definitely do. The big thing though for LBZS, they took out all the outer towers. When you're playing a big team fight lineup,
Radiant's
not
top
having a
tower is
tower
under
to
attack.
fight around is a problem. Yes, you do have a Beastmaster with vision, but getting out on the map with these kind of heroes, they're slow, to be honest. Like, let's not kid ourselves. The Winter Wyvern, the Phoenix, these heroes are slow. They need some time to get there where they want to go, and they need good positioning for a team fight. So LBZS, really nice systematical taking down all the towers. The next job now is push out the lanes, and then Yangon, they will have one play, and that is, oh, what a nice coil. That's just a beautiful one. You try to abuse the map, not gonna happen. But Yangon, they're gonna have one play, and that is gonna be to smoke and fight. And I think LBZS, they're gonna be ready for when that does happen.
That Aegis is about to expire though, so that is at least a big plus. But this Juggernaut is huge. Blink Dagger picked up as well, so he can get the backline jump, and they're very hard to deal with because they've got a bunch of blinks now available on LBZS. Top melee racks are under siege. The bash from Young PH will delay it a little bit longer, but Salad's got the big fat tree, and even as a support Tiny, you do chunk down buildings very quickly. Rolling Thunder actually going in. He does have an Axe finish up onto Young PH. He's going for the backline jump, looking for the catch here onto LG. Spectre Hunt gets used, and Young PH makes a lot work, but he's going to get Black Hole. Winter's Curse holds them all together, and will they be able to continue the fight? The Phoenix gets dropped, but it's immediately going to get evaporated by that Juggernaut, by the puck. They find the correct targeting, and because that Winter Wyvern, the curse was great, but the Phoenix Egg was a little bit too late to the party. Young PH in the trees, can he get himself away? The Wyvern is going to get taken down. No cooldowns left on the side of Young PH, and this is a very problematic fight, but the interrupt of the TP, and that is huge. The bash, here comes the play from Young PH. They find the kill, they lose the melee racks though. It was a double buyback on the YG side of things, but that puck should be able to at least easily disengage.
This is why losing all of your outer towers is such a problem. Also, in that fight, the Winter Wyvern used the curse on an Enigma that was already low. If the Enigma had like 60% HP there, the Phoenix could position there, but because the Winter Wyvern killed the Enigma so fast, it just let all of the other heroes go really fast, and they could come back into the fight. But Yangon, they knew that they were forced to fight there. I like that Young PH went in, but I don't think the rest of his team was immediately ready. That was the main issue. The Phoenix was a few seconds late on the buyback, as you mentioned, and obviously the unfortunate way of the Enigma dying immediately to the Wizard's Curse is gonna lose it in team fight.
Definitely a bit of a problem, though. Young PH is looking very strong at the moment, and that is a big plus because he did go for the Ags build, for the Ags pure, well, full-on damage annoyance build, and that is what I like to see, because the Rolling Thunder, you saw how much work it did in that team fight. Now just make it happen where you're not completely alone and your teammates are backing you up, and you actually do have a very good chance at still taking a fight, even though you are massively behind in terms of net worth. There is still plenty of opportunities to try and turn it into your favor. Spectre is still very tanky, but the Juggernaut just also does so much damage with that spin to win.
I think it is a bit early to talk about it, and Yangon are probably not happy about it, but right now, for them to get a good fight, I think the Spectre needs to run in and die. Run in and die, buy back Hunt back in, and so that the rest of the team can have the vision. Right now, the map control of LBZS is so good that the Beastmaster Hawks are always going to be taken down, so you're not going to have better vision that way. So Yangon, if they want to fight, and they should, because with the next Roche they'll lose the game, they need the Spectre buyback there. So I think you should wait now for where the Roche is most likely to spawn, somewhere around minute and a half after the spawn. Go for a smoke and play it like that so that the Spectre is the first one to go in, and once he kind of scouts the terrain, that is when the Pango should strike.
Yeah, about a minute left until Roche respawns. Third Roche, that's the big one, of course, with the free Ags or Shard. Both really good this game for both teams. Double Black Hole on one hand, or double Dream Coil. The other one, obviously, you've got double Egg, double Curse. They have like a lot of doubles, everything. I would probably assume that's going to go for the Pango for the double roll. He also went for an Aeon Disc to make sure he does not get absolutely one shot. Roar onto the Enchantress coming in. With the Rolling Thunder, Black Hole comes in to play Phoenix Egg on the side, but it's right underneath the Juggernaut. The Winter Scourge will not be able to get the cast off, and the Phoenix is dead. They will lose the first on their team. The bounce comes out. They lose the Wyvern as well, and that's going to be 2 diebacks on their side. Trying to rifle, but the Impetus arrows are pure damage, and they do so much right now against that Spectre. He is just absolutely being hunted by the Enchantress. The TP attempt comes out, but that is going to be the interruption and a full team wipe. That should be LBZS taking game number 1.
Yangon, they're still not GGing out. This team is pretty well known to fighting till the end, so they are warriors, though. They're gonna have a lot of black eyes, broken eyes, and whatnot in this game because they got absolutely dismantled there. As soon as I saw them jumping in on the Enchantress with Aurora, I was like, no, that is not the way for you to start the fight off, because that hero is way too hard to bring down, and even if you do, you probably would have bought back and you pretty much didn't do anything. So overall, Yangon Galacticos, bad approach to the fight, and obviously it's not gonna end up too nice when you're just smoking there onto the high ground.
He does take a lot of damage. Is still very elusive though in the trees, and now out of sight, out of mind. But yeah, I don't really get the roar on the Enchant. Like if it was Blink, Roar, Enigma, I would be all for it. But Enchantress does nothing. Like, she just doesn't die and she stands there. Of course, the Impetus does do a lot of damage, but it is completely a waste of your ulti on the Beastmaster, especially considering you don't know where the Enigma is playing at that stage. And, well, you saw it right there. They needed that roar to interrupt the Enigma Black Hole. Like, the entire Pangolier roll got denied because of that one. And the Enigma doesn't even have a BKB, doesn't even have a Lincoln. He's just standing there with an Octarine 4 the entire time. Nice curse at the very least. Tiny dropping low, but eats the cheese. The good old Gouda toss up onto the Spectre. The damage coming through, and they are just getting absolutely abysmally destroyed. Solid even has this. Oh wow! He even has the greatest Jules scepter in the world. And that is tossing his teammates in towards the enemy fountain. That's a GG call, and that is a LBZS who definitely is looking to be one of the top dogs in the tournament.
Yeah, even you could say that they made a few mistakes here, maybe uncharacteristic for them, but I did mention, or maybe I did not, I'm not sure, we talked about it maybe off stream, that LBZS tend to be a little bit more, aggressive, maybe weird with their picks in the early stages of the tournament until they drop to the lower bracket. So I think they could have even played this cleaner by their standards. So definitely looking good here, and there were times where Yangon looked like they could take the game, but pretty much I think LBZS ended it at the exact time that they were gunning for.
Yeah, it was, there were definite opportunities for YG, but their coordination in the team fights, it did feel a little bit off sometimes. Jumping the Enchantress, especially like at that stage. That wasn't the only time that they did that. They did that in a previous fight as well, where they roared the Enchantress, and it's literally probably the only hero that you should not try to kill at the start of a team fight, that you shouldn't waste your ultis on. Like, Tiny would be a great target, Buck would be great, everyone else but the Enchantress, and they tried to take down the Enchantress multiple times. He's the one that's just there to tank the smoke gang. That's literally all that she's supposed to do, and she does it perfectly. And yeah, that's really why I think, getting a little bit antsy, getting a little bit nervous with being behind and such, trying to get every little benefit you can gain, but unfortunately that was in this case not possible, because LBZS do manage to take game number 1 in their stride.
I kind of agree with you wholeheartedly there. That's why I wanted the Spectre to start off the fight, you know, kind of give some vision to your teammates, run in, and then come back with the Haunt if it does go that way. But, you know, it just feels bad sometimes when you're the Spectre, also are racks behind, maybe even 2, and you want to be split pushing, you want to come into the fight last, but that is just wasn't a possibility in this game. And Enchantress, I think, definitely one of the more important heroes for LBZS in this game, just because of that factor of the hero that you can run in, and there's actually a good chance that even if they use all of their spells on you, that you will survive.
Yeah, definitely was a pretty interesting showdown for game number 1, but of course we do still have game number 2 to be played soon enough. I assume that we'll be going towards a short little break so that we can recuperate and get everything ready for the people at home. Or not?
Oh.
I guess not yet.
You need,
well,
it seems like you need to wait for the cue from production. Now you can go, so you're under their command, Truman, and you really have to understand how important it is for you to listen, you know?
Yeah, but I don't know how long I'm supposed to keep on talking, because, well, the game is over, they've made mistakes, it happens. I also need to just get some water and get myself recuperated, because it's hot these days in these countries.
At least in Serbia it was a little bit colder in the last few days. It's gonna get hot again soon, but you know, you are allowed to drink some water. I think you are allowed, so go on and do it. Oh, okay, so you're definitely feeling a lot better. You're probably gonna be needing a refill, but yeah, there's no one to do it for you, I guess.
Yeah, no, I unfortunately have to do it myself. Refill it myself. But yeah, you know, are there any changes that you want to see in game number 2?
I would like to see a playmaker on Yangon Galacticos that doesn't come necessarily only from the mid lane. So just like LBZS had a Enchantress that can go into the enemy jungle, they had a Tiny with a Blink, they had a Puck. There's pretty much 3 heroes that can constantly do something. And okay, the Jugger can come over, I guess, but the thing is that you know, when you only have one playmaker and he's not even a Blink type of hero, it is a problem.
Well, we do have the stats, though, as you can see. I mean, young PH, he was 5-5-8, but it feels like he did most of the heavy lifting this game. He was really good on that Pangolier, especially the laning stage win against PP. But, you know, that's just the laning stage. As you can see, PP is, well, he came back swinging, and the lack of real solid control, specifically like puck control, silences, and the like, definitely did come through. He did get roared a couple of times, but that did not hold him back from absolutely tearing apart the YG lineup.
Yeah, for sure. Kagome, I think he had an easy job, though. It wasn't too hard for him, and PP, obviously, in the start of the game, he had some issues, but later on, he did manage to start surviving. He understood how to play the game, and then it was a walk in the park for him.
Okay, yeah, that is definitely gonna be, I mean, it was a pretty solid affair and a very nice showdown. It's definitely a little bit unfortunate, but hopefully, you know, they get themselves a breather, they take a little bit of a breath of fresh air, get some water, recuperate for the next game. We'll be going towards a short break until the next game. Finally, we did get the all clear, so we'll be right back.
There was a thing in the woods. But once a year, it left the woods to feast on us. Then one year, out of the woods came nothing. Another year passed, and another. Over time, we forgot our fear. And turned our backs on the dark. Slivers of the mad moon hang forgotten in our sky, slowly aligning. It is time again. The tide rises and brings with it something dire.
Don't let this pretty scene fool you. This world is a dangerous place. When you get to be my age, you'll see friends come and go. It's important to take care of the ones still care. It's important to take care of the ones.
There was a thing in the woods. But once a year, it left the woods to feast on us. Then one year, out of the woods came nothing. Another year passed, and another. Over time, we forgot our fear. And turned our backs on the dark. Slivers of the mad moon hang forgotten in our sky, slowly aligning. It is time again. The tide rises and brings with it something dire.
Welcome back, ladies and gents, to, well, right before the draft of game number 2 comes on the way. My name is DkTruman. I'm joined by Harry Freak for this showdown, and, well, it was a very interesting game. Number 1 got very close for quite some time, but in the end, you know, LBZS shows why they're that top dog in this tournament, and they definitely made it look pretty solid on their part.
Yeah, I think, you know, even though there were some small mistakes, the big things they got right. That is, tank the smokes with the Enchantress, get the early mid lane tower, and focus on the Roche. And those are the 3 things that I think got them the win in that game. They got every single Roche. The third one, obviously the most important. Even though there were some great team fights coming out from Yangon and Galacticos, they never got much out of it, and that kind of a performance is usually gonna end up losing the game for you in the end.
Honestly, if they lost any of the Roches, I think they would have lost.
Yeah.
Juggernaut would just not be able to fight. So I think that's honestly a really good call by you. Like you said it at the start of the game, what their game plan was kind of going to be. They needed the Roche, they needed the Aegis. They get that. They're kind of in the clear, and they definitely did show that as well. Great performance from LBZS, and you know, sometimes you do have some of those draws there, you know what your win condition is. They knew it exactly, and they did manage to make it work. YG starting it off with a Vayne this time around, and a Viper for LBZS, but the Tiny has been banned by themselves actually this time around. Slark? Okay, that's very early.
I have a friend, he used to play competitive Dota, that now plays a support Slark. So he just buys like an orb of venom and comes to the lane and starts hitting people, and he's still a relatively high rank, around 500, you know, nothing too great, but he's actually winning a lot of games. So when I see a Slark this early on, I can't really see it as we're gonna play the core 100%. So maybe LBZS have an idea of playing a support Slark, though I don't know. It seems like a pub thing to me, where you're annoying people in the lane, they get tilted, and you win the game that way. Though the more important thing, we're seeing the big belly Bane. This guy hasn't gone on a diet for a very long time. Alchemist as well. So at least this Radiant side, on the side of Yangon, they're eating well today.
Yeah, they're getting their munch on, though it is. You know, Alchemist gaming is always pretty solid. It has got a massive increase lately. I've casted series where all 3 games had an Alchemist pick, which, you know, at one point you expect the team to eventually ban it. But it is a hero that can play in multiple roles. There are some people, I think Tofu and Valor, do tend to play it as a position 4 as well. So it's not always 100% guaranteed that it's going to be like the off lane or safe lane or mid in that matter. And that's actually kind of interesting that the Alchemist can be played in 4 different roles these days.
Hellraisers played it on 5 with a carry Medusa, and they won the game in 25 minutes. Yeah, you could argue, but they were playing against PuckChamp, so you know, yeah, they did drop down to Division 2, both PuckChamp and Hellraisers, but they were once Division 1 teams, and they played it as a position 5 Alchemist, and it actually looked pretty solid. The Alchemist Medusa lane crushed it, you know, so you could say it, sure, it was only once, but it has been played in all 5 roles throughout the DPC.
Yeah, that is okay. That is actually kind of interesting. I did not know about the Position 5, but yeah, that simple concoction is really strong. Though they pick up the Enigma, just like last game, Bane counters Enigma with the Fiend's Grip, obviously. And Alchemist, if this is a safe lane Alchemist up against an Enigma, you destroy those Eidolons with the Acid Spray. So on one hand, you know, he played a really good Enigma. On the other hand, they really like picking Enigma. It doesn't really matter what they're up against.
I don't know why they don't first pick it, to be honest. When you're gonna pick it either way, whatever the enemies have, just first pick the hero. Who cares? Like, oh, you're gonna counter us? Well, we would have last picked it into 5 Enigma counters anyways. So the Void Spirit comes out. When I see an Alchemist Void Spirit, to me it screams offlane Alchemist. Just because I'm expecting the Void Spirit to get an axe, you know, early on. And the offlane Alchemist does give it the dear list, maybe a position 4, but I think it's much more safe to assume that they're gonna play it in the offlane, even though throughout this season I know that it hasn't been played, but I haven't casted a single offlane Alchemist game because in Eastern Europe people just don't want to play it in the offlane.
Western EU, they like it. SA, they kind of are okay with it. Does get picked up sometimes, not as dominantly as, of course, in EU. I think Gaming Gladiators, they play it in like 3-4 different roles. 3, I think specifically. I mean, AC plays offlane Alch, and the item that he gets is still Radiant.
5 seconds
So, you know, there are some people that just do not care about supporting their teammates. But yeah, the hero can be very diverse. Right now, Grimstroke added in, so it's not a support Alchemist. That just means either safe or offlane. Laning against the Viper is pretty problematic. Laning against the Enigma is pretty okay, but the Viper could also be a position. It could be a mid, but it could also be a position 5, possibly. And then the Alchemist offlane would be absolutely terrible.
I'm not even gonna assume where this Viper is going. I can say maybe it's a position 5 Viper with a 1 Slark, but then again, given that I've seen position 5 Slarks in European pubs lately, I can maybe it's a position 1 Viper with a 5 Slark as well. So I don't know. In the end, I don't know. The Enigma, they played it in the offlane last time around, so I'm gonna assume they're gonna do it the same way again. But then again, we've seen the position 4 Dragonite, we've seen the position 4 Enigma. I think LBZS's draft are all over the place right now, and I think only they know what they're gonna be doing. I'm just hoping that they actually do know, because sometimes when we can flex this, we can flex this, we can flex this, and then you have no idea what you want to do with the heroes.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot as well in SA. It happened a lot with Mars, where Mars was always like flex, 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 and then eventually they decided in the last second, okay, we're putting the Mars mid. Then the Mars gets crushed and just does nothing the entire game. And that's, at one point I started hating Mars mid just because of that. Like, if you pick Mars mid because it's a good Mars mid game, okay. But if you pick a Mars mid because, you know, you kind of stuck because you tried to flex it the entire time, then your draft just falls all over the place and it's disastrous. So I like the fact that you can flex a lot of heroes, but some teams need to calm down with trying to literally flex every aspect of their lineup.
People just like flexing, I guess. Yangon, though, I'm liking their draft quite a lot. If this is an offlane Alchemist with the Grimstroke, that is a very strong lane. Could be a Bane position 4 with an Alchemist offlane as well, because Grimstroke deals well with the Eidolons, whereas the Bane does not. So it wouldn't surprise me if they go that route as well. Plus, Bane does have a solid amount of right-click damage. Could be quite nice. So Yangon's draft I definitely like, especially if it's a position 3 Alchemist to give the Axe and the Void Spirit. Plus, with the Inkswell buff, any hero dies. Literally any hero dies until they get a BKB, and even then you just go in with the Inkswell, and if they're not careful and it pops, you could do 2000 damage before they're able to get the BKB off, and not a lot of heroes do have that amount of HP.
It's I love Grimstroke. I think the Heroes Toolkit's pretty remarkable. When they nerfed the Inkswell to, I think, 4-second duration until it pops, the hero was just all of a sudden absolutely garbage. And they quickly changed that back, luckily enough. But yeah, they do have some nice combos with the Grim, of course. Double Unsip Concoction, double Fiend's Grip, that you can use on YG side. That's why they also banned out the Doom on LBZS, because they're afraid of those big combination spells to be thrown out. But Grimstroke on its own is already just really good. Like, if this is a Slark safe lane and you hit him with a Soulbind, then the hero is all of a sudden half a hero. He's just like, he gets stuck and he cannot chase down anyone. And especially against a hero like the Void Spirit, the lacking of control on LBZS might be very problematic.
Dire team pick.
Yeah, not a lot of attack speed on the LBZS heroes as well, so the Phantom's Embrace is also going to be a problem. And Yangon now go for a Faceless Void, which is a classic Slark counter. Please let this be a supported Slark, because this is an impossible game to play the Slark into. I mean, if you don't have a BKB, you just die to the AoE damage. You're gonna be standing in the acid spray. You can't even trade with the Alchemist in lane if you're a core and want to get last hits as well. The Faceless Void, I don't even want to talk about him. He kills him so easily. And then you have the setups for the Bane, the Phantom's Embrace. Everything is working against you. So I'm not sure what LBZS were thinking, though. You know, they probably feel like they're the better team, so might just rely on the fact that they're gonna outplay their opponents.
Yeah, but to be fair, I really like the draft with their last game as well. Last pick, TA, so it's gonna be a TA. I have no idea.